the official launch of Your Unique Edge, Living Your Masterpiece. My name is Cassandra and I am your host for this evening, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay my respect to elders both past and present. So tonight is an incredibly special night as we celebrate the launch of this highly anticipated book by Shane Muller, Your Unique Edge. It's not just a book, it's a powerful guide that aims to inspire one to embrace their true self, break free from societal pressures, and live authentically. And as you entered, you would have received a gift, which was a bookmark. And this is a gift from Shane, and on that bookmark, it has a quote from the book and the name and page. Now, your bookmark is going to need a home, so yes, we are selling the book tonight at the table just in the other room that you would have passed. We've got copies of the book available for purchase, and today is the first official day that you can grab a copy of the book. So you may wish to order a copy for yourself perhaps, or it also makes a great corporate gift, a great Christmas gift. If you're like Shane, you know he loves to bless people, so he wouldn't personally buy a copy for himself, but he'd buy it for someone that he wanted to empower to make impact. So there's some ideas of what you could do with your latest copy of the book, and Shane will also sign the book for you here tonight, or you can complete the form and he can have it sent to you free of charge as well. So just visiting the table in the other room. So I'll just take you through the run of the night and what we can expect. We've got a very exciting evening ahead of us, and hopefully you've already snuck in a bit of networking time over the past hour, but there will be more opportunities to get to know your peers. Next, after me, we will hear from Shane, and I'm also going to take you through what he's been up to over the past 5 years. And following Shane's address, there will be the unveiling masterpiece, so please make sure you're in the room for that. Then later on we're going to be joined on stage by Shane and Jacob Galea, and we're going to have a question and answer followed by the collection of your books and then a signing. So we have like a cloakroom service for the books, so you don't need to carry it around all night. You can enjoy as many canapes and drinks as you can handle, and you can collect your book at the end of the night. We'd also love if you could grab a photo on the media wall where you walked in. And if you can please tag us at InspED Global, #YourUniqueEdge. So if you can take a photo with our professional photography team and also on your own device, we'd love to see you tagging and posting on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, you know the drill. Now, some of you who are here in the room wouldn't have joined us since the OBT 20th anniversary, which was 5 years ago. I want to let you know what Shane's been up to over the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, Shane has been on an incredible journey. He marked 25 years of OBT, where his leadership and vision have made a lasting impact. Beyond this, Shane has taken on some more diverse roles, including becoming a marriage celebrant, and in fact, he married my husband and I 2 years ago, which was very special. After that, Shane then embarked on the journey of becoming a sommelier, and that added a refined touch to his impressive list of talents. At the end of last year, Shane launched SafeWatch, an innovative app dedicated to making an impact in mental health, and in the short time since he's launched SafeWatch, he's already been announced as a finalist in the startup category of the iAwards, and has won the Consensus Award in the MedTech category for 2024. And I'm told that this prestigious award is only awarded if all 9 out of 9 judges agree, and over the past 25 years, 9 out of 10 people who have won this award have gone on to have worldwide success, so that sounds incredibly promising. Further to this, Shane's heart extends to education through InspED, which is also officially launched tonight. And on a more personal level, Shane and Tanya are the proud foster parents to 3 beautiful girls, Katie, age 7, Julie, age 5, and Jazzy, age 3, and are currently in the process of adoption. And I can't forget to acknowledge their beloved cavoodle, Millie Muller, as well. Finally, I have some more exciting news to share with you tonight that will be made public in 2 weeks' time. Shane is the winner of the Australian CEO Excellence Award for 2024 in the categories of Community, Security and Privacy. And now his latest venture, of course, writing Your Unique Edge. This adds another remarkable chapter to his mission of making a positive impact on this world. So please join me as we welcome Shane on stage.
Good evening. So good to see everybody. And that might be a little bit too loud, so we might control the volume. It'd be great if some of us could come a little bit closer, as long as you don't stand in front of any of the camera guys, because they won't be happy. But do come along closer. Welcome, everybody. For some of you who know, I actually didn't have a moment to prepare this short update for yourself, so wish me luck. And if you want to know how you can wish me luck, encourage me along the way. Thank you. It's actually great to have so many friends, family, business colleagues, clients, former staff, those representing the Hong Kong government, you name it, ministers, amazing group of people here. It's actually very humbling, so many people in marketing, press. It's actually quite humbling to have everyone here. So I really want to say thank you and welcome to tonight. My goal here tonight really is to put something on so that you guys can have a great time. That's really my goal. I was saying to someone, I didn't do myself a favor because I tried not to delegate too much, because I actually wanted everyone to receive and enjoy tonight. So if you saw me running around crazy, don't mind me. Where do I start? I will start by, what a lot of people haven't had the amazing imprint opportunity to meet my wife. So I'm going to ask Tanya to come up here. I would love, no one, not many, and we'll need tissues because it's going to get a bit tough and rough.
It's all ready.
So this is my wife. Don't mind the heights. It's all fine. So Tanya, in a couple of weeks, it'll be 23 years ago that she first laid eyes on me. I know. In 2 weeks, so yeah.
Actually, the opposite.
Anyway. And if anyone, once you get to know her, you'll know she's very feisty. That happens when you're Irish. So anyway, I would like to just want everyone to be able to see and know who Tanya is, because a lot of people know about Tanya, but they've not been able to get to meet her. So I would ask, please, afterwards, go talk to her and get to know her, because she is the more colorful person off the side of the coin. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you, honey.
Thanks. All right. So, I'm quite comfortable with taking time and thinking. If anyone gets uncomfortable, relax. I'm also comfortable with getting emotional. If that makes you uncomfortable, don't worry about it. So today is the 12th of September. So today, 12th of September, 1988, 36 years ago today, I was actually quite fortunate, because 36 years ago today, my dad, and please come up, Dad. My dad brought me to Australia. So 36 years ago today, he put this young guy, me, on a plane, and the two of us came because the rest of the family were already here. And taking a very bold move to leave what he had, to come here. And his motivation, from what I remember as a young kid, was my parents were moving here so that the kids could have an opportunity. And I'm so blessed that I have learned opportunity isn't directed to self. It's through self, it's actually an opportunity to make an impact to other people. I'm so blessed that I've learned that along the way. But Dad, 36 years today.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to put you on the spot. And I'm sorry if anyone doesn't like this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. So there's impact quotes. Yeah, all sorts of things in the book, and there's a lot I've actually covered in the first chapter about my dad and some of the upbringing. But I'm going to ask you to read just one impact quote.
Witnessing my father's sacrifice and willingness to step down from a position of prestige to provide us with a chance at a better life has had a profound impact on me.
Very good. You can have it. So, it's only the start. So I would like to summarize by saying just this first point, that we're blessed to be in a place that we have opportunity and we can take advantage of that opportunity. And we can be beaten up and we can have the worst things thrown towards us. But if we're able to just change our binoculars, change our eyes, change our glasses, to look at the situation, we can actually use and channel anything, even something as something horrific and negative. We can channel that and actually make a positive difference out there in the world, not just for oneself, but make a difference out there. So that's one part with reference to my parents coming here 36 years ago today, which is amazing. And I will also say that I'm also fortunate and blessed that as a young person, I learned that I have an opportunity not just to fill my pockets, which is something I learned as a young kid, fill my pockets, which was a way of measuring success financially. But instead, why on earth do I want to fill the pockets? And that's when I, as a teenager, I'm thankful, learned that I can actually go out there and make an impact in this world. So my impact focus, which we'll cover throughout today, hopefully, and you'll certainly read a lot about in the book, has been with me since my teenage years. So that's point number one. Point number two, for anyone taking notes, and I hope you're taking notes. So point number two, I am also quite privileged and blessed that at a very young age, in my teenage years, and I then set something up in February 2001, I set up a charitable foundation called the Destiny Foundation. And the Destiny Foundation is actually what gives me the fuel to do what I do. There are many businesses I'm involved in. I do heaps of things. Makes you wonder why, but I can actually answer the why. All of it is driven by what Destiny is about. So very concisely, I'll explain. The Destiny Foundation has 4 impact objectives. The first one, and I have no idea how I'm going to make some good headway on this, I really want to shift the dial and increase the value of the family unit. Because my view is, if I look at the statistic, it seems to be diminishing and diminishing, and I am looking for people out there who can come alongside myself and create things to help lift up and boost up the value of family, because it is more than to procreate. That's the first thing. The second impact area, thank you. The second impact area is children, young kids, people, young people. 600 odd million, I could get my statistics wrong, don't make their 5th birthday every year. They don't even make it. Most of it for things that everyone in this room would have and take for granted. Most of us are very sheltered because we have so much. It's just the media tells you you don't. And the media tells you it's really tough. But we are overly rich compared to the planet. And we need to remind ourselves that. So we want to make a difference in children's lives. So we're not, Destiny Foundation is not out there to go out there and do the works, because we're not scaled for that. But instead we align with NGOs. And the current NGO we're aligned with, which we have been for a while, is called Compassion Australia. They have this amazing motto, and they say it's about helping kids from the womb to the workforce. So it's not about teaching kids. Absolutely, it's a brilliant motto. It's not about teaching kids or young people how to get, but training them, giving them the emotional, the spiritual, the health, whatever they need, but helping them grow up and be leaders in their world and their community. And that's Compassion Australia. And I'm actually great. We have Claire over here with two of her team. Claire's the CEO of Compassion Australia. It's one of the 4 impact areas that we focus on with Destiny Foundation. And by the way, there's millions and millions out there that we have to get to work with and make an impact. Thank you. The third impact area. I have a heart, and if you're wondering if it's through personal experience, it isn't. I have a heart for single mums. It's a tough gig being a parent as a couple. It really is tough. Doing it as a single mum, me looking at the research and studying about this, it's a tough gig. You're labeled, you don't get school hours jobs, you could be you could be an executive, you could be highly educated, but according to the OECD, of the top 40 nations, Australia is the worst. You just drop to the lowest ranking compared to these other nations. So we want to create some programs and support single mums and help elevate them, help them with their self-image, help them with finding better paying jobs, not average, better paying jobs, help them find school hours work. Because mums play a significant role in our world. It just goes under the radar. No one knows what mums do. So, single mums is what we want to do and make an impact there. It's almost 800 to 1 million single mums in Australia. The fourth area, we want to create programs to support people who have experienced abuse in their life. In Australia, 1 to 3 million people are said to have experienced abuse. I personally think it's a lot more, because most people don't go and talk about it or will never say it. And I'm talking physical, sexual, financial, you name it. There's all sorts of areas of abuse. And people walk around with that pain and that scar. And they actually end up taking it to their grave. So we want to shift and help people find their own very personal, private journey on restoration. It's a tough gig, but the more I've researched this, the statistics are crazy. There's a lot of people out there that have experienced this, and it's just not disclosed. And it leaves an impact. I've also found when someone has had abuse, it actually passes on to the next generation. That's really tough for that next generation. They end up with a view or a bias towards that challenge. So that's the fourth area. That's the Destiny Foundation. So that was my point too. So I'm actually excited to highlight that Destiny Foundation is the why to all these different things I'm doing. It's not because I have spare time at all, but it is actually the answer to the why. And I was pushed to put our impact goal on our website, which I was very hesitant, but I'm okay to say that to you. So we have a goal with the Destiny Foundation to impact 100 million lives. Now, for those of you who are wondering how on earth I can do that, I will answer this. I will see a single-digit percentage of that impact in my lifetime. I think it might take about 3 generations. But my goal is to set something up that can keep going beyond this short life that I have and most of us here, all of us here have. We only have a short time. So that's the Destiny Foundation. All right, moving on, changing gears a bit, because I think I need to pick up pace. OBT, so 25 years, we're celebrating 25 years of OBT, and I want to say it's actually truly humbling to just last 25 years. I have a significant amount of respect of anyone who's done something for 10 years. It's really hard. I mean, people don't want to use the word hard. You rather look like a hero, but it's super hard. And if you don't believe me, do it. It's really tough being in business. The stuff you take to bed on and the weight you carry on your shoulders, it's not light. So I feel quite humbled, really, to say, 25 years with no experience. I set out to build OBT. I had no experience. I only raised a total of $220,000 capital, which is not much if you want to fill a data center and have expensive staff. And I set it up in a garage because that's all we had. And I'm actually want to highlight, I'm so humbled that we have a lady over here, her name's Marie. Marie was OBT's very, very first customer. And I can tell you, thanks Marie, thank you for being here. It is exceptionally loud how much communication and a message there is from someone who says, you know what, I'm willing to step out and be the first. It does something immense that even today, 25 years later, I truly value and cherish. Because who was going to go and do something called cloud and in a garage, and like who in their right mind would do that 25 years ago? You got to be nuts. Anyway, so thank you for trust and being our very first customer. That's an OBT. Now, I will also say this, one thing I have learned about my being able to last more than a decade, you actually have to be pretty good to reinvent yourself, because you can't stay constant. Anyone who does something more than 10 years already has that spark of being able to reinvent, work around a challenge, because you can't stay constant. It's at you, and you need to find your edge. By the way, the book will explain that too. But that wasn't a plug. All right, now, my fourth point. All right, my fourth point. 5 years ago, we were celebrating OBT's 20th. We were on the #1 super yacht in Australia. It was amazing. Everyone wore white. It was a great event 5 years ago when we celebrated our 20th. I made a few statements about what's next, because at that point in time, I was actually trying to figure out what's next, and I made a few statements. And I said 3 things 5 years ago. One is we need to shift something in the education space. The second thing I mentioned was we're going to do something in mental wellness and shift the dial with the challenges with mental wellness. And the third thing I said 5 years ago on that boat was we're going to create digital identity security so that people are no longer vulnerable to people who leverage people's digital identities. So those 3 very simple things and very innocent things is what I mentioned 5 years ago. And today, we're actually launching InspED, which the objective of InspED, you know, it breaks my heart when people don't fit in a box, and you go to school, and if you don't fit into this 60%, you just don't fit in. But I have learned in my research, the 20% on this side and the 20% on this side, they may be labeled different, spectrum, disabled, and what other fancy words. But my research has shown the world is actually changed by the people on these sides. They just learn differently. They just are not a cookie cutting output. So with InspED, we actually want to really address this element of learning where people aren't just labeled because it's easy if I just label you and then I know how to deal with you. But help people learn and consume information and be their best self and not worry about being on the spectrum or whatever other term it is. And that's our heart with InspED. The second one, mental wellness. It was a statement that was mentioned. There was no idea, there was no business name. I spent a whole year thinking about how on earth we do and what should we do and why should we do SafeWatch. And then 1 year later, we stepped out to form the team to build SafeWatch. I didn't even come up with the name. The name, Rosa picked the name. Rosa actually ran all the finance, and over the couple of years, yeah, Rosa, over that time, I think she must have been scratching her head because I kept asking her, do this, and it had nothing to do with finance and her role. But she was super adaptive. She did what she had to do, plus all of this, get some research, statistics, do a business plan, etc. And we essentially birthed SafeWatch within that year. And we've launched SafeWatch last year, and we have a long way to go. I won't say the same things Cassie said, but we have a big job ahead of us. Our impact goal with SafeWatch is to impact 20 million lives, 25 million lives. We have a lot of work to do. We're here in Australia and also overseas. We're focusing on Asia. We're looking for the right partners. I'm actually privileged that so many in this room, there's a lot of our advisory council, our developers, marketing, our amazing team that actually make up SafeWatch. There's an army of volunteers that actually make up what we do at SafeWatch. So I will cover that a bit more, but I want to say that one seed or statement has come to pass, and we've actually journeyed in 5 years. And then the third point I mentioned about security. For the last the last 13 months, I've been working on something, and that is called Secure My Digital. And Secure My Digital, we've actually, over the last 13 months, created and architected a method to actually deliver to people complete peace of mind from ransomware. We've created an ability where people don't actually have to be on their knees when it comes to ransomware, corporates and governments. And our hypothesis when we created this capability, we looked, most of the marketplace was trying to protect and prevent a ransomware attack. We went extremely bold, if I was to say, and our hypothesis was, let's assume the criminal already has your data. And that's what we started. So we can go to the marketplace and say to a government customer, if the criminal has your data, you're fine. There's nothing that's going to be exposed. And while we're doing that, we ended up creating a password system that cannot be cracked, even with a quantum machine, but it's mum and dad friendly. So it's actually super exciting. So it's mum and dad friendly, as in, super exciting. So I'm looking for anyone who wants to help me on that too, because that challenge is putting companies and governments to their knees. So it's actually very exciting. That's that. Now, if only I remember my final fifth point for those who are taking notes. Yes, I mentioned also on the boat, what next? I learned that when I hit this 20 years, and I learned it after 10 years, you do something for 10 years or plus, or in life, your identity ends up becoming trapped or embedded in that. Whether you give it permission or not, your identity gets tied to something with time. It could be tied to a house that you never moved out of for 20 years. It could be tied to I'm CEO or whatever it is. If you do something for long enough, I learned that you see you as that. And it's very hard to separate that. So I went on this journey 5 years ago, because I learned that everyone at that time, if you said Shane, they would go OBT. And if you go OBT, they go Shane. And I realized that's actually not my objective. It's, one is something I do. It's not actually who I am. And that process is actually what helped and led me to discover a few things, which I then have put into the book that I'll cover in the second part. My heart, though, with the book, I will say this. My goal is that when people read this, two things: that they will see themselves as very, very unique. And unique is not different. Unique is not odd. Unique is actually unique. And the more unique something is, the more valuable it is. So my goal is that people will learn that they are, number one, unique. And number two, their uniqueness is what gives you or them their edge. Because looking at people trying to copy, because a lot of people are trying to copy because someone else is more popular or they have the goods or whatever. Every person, I believe, is unique. And that's my goal with the book. And my ultimate goal is when people end up going through this, that they will be able to see themselves and go, wow, this is really a masterpiece. As in, I am a masterpiece. There's not another one like this. And the world will really miss out if I don't live my masterpiece. That's my objective. Yeah. Now, in closing, because I have no idea of my time, in closing, I will say this. You guys probably think I have all these talents, so I don't want to tell you that I'm a painter on canvas. I'm not going to tell you that. But I would like to take a moment and unveil a masterpiece. Jeez, can anyone even see my face? Obviously a height issue. So I just want to take a moment to share the heart of the book, which is what I said, where people will see themselves as a masterpiece. And please don't give me bad points for any amazing drawing or painting or what have you. But my heart is that, like what you see here, is what I see as a masterpiece. There's nothing like what you're looking at. Hopefully you're looking at yourself. Very unique, very special. And you have to remember, even if you're going through tough times, and we can talk about mental wellness and stuff, the world will miss out if you don't live your masterpiece. Not just the good, your bad crap that you've gone through helps put spice into the dish that shapes you, that's unique. So that's the unveiling. Thank you, gentlemen, I appreciate it. So with that was my quick update. I'll hand it back to Cassie. And I hope you have a great night.
Thank you, Shane. We can now turn our focus to your unique edge. And I'd like to read to you the foreword by Rod Lever, who is, interestingly, a former client and lifelong friend of Shane, turned partner and shareholder. And he even attended Shane's wedding, so they go way back. And I'll just let you know a little bit about Rod Lever. So Rod Lever is based in Australia, has an extensive international career in entrepreneurial and corporate real estate investments, with senior CEO leadership roles in multi-billion-dollar funds, management companies and multinational corporations with 10,000 plus employees. He emphasises a management style centred on strategy, execution, and fostering a culture of respect, inclusion, innovation, and excellence. So the foreword to your unique edge reads: You are about to embark on a journey guided by the insightful pen of my dear friend Shane Muller. For over 2 decades, I have had the privilege of witnessing Shane's unwavering commitment to integrity, a quality that has not only shaped his character, but also the essence of the words you are about to absorb. In this profound exploration of cultural intricacies, Shane dissects the multiple facets of life in chapters that resonate with the core of our existence. From the tender embrace of childhood memories to navigating the storms of crisis in 12 days, each chapter unfolds a tapestry of wisdom. Shane's experiences become your compass, pointing towards the significance of rest, identity, belonging, and the profound journey of self-discovery. Living your masterpiece is not merely a title, it's a calling. one that is most worthy of your investment. Shane beckons you to recognize your uniqueness, the embedded coding that sets you apart. In chapters like The Power of Giving and The Personality of Wisdom, he unveils the transformative force of benevolence and the silent strength found in moments of contemplation. As you delve into the pages ahead, you may find solace, inspiration, and the deep realization that you are indeed a masterpiece in the making. Shane's words are not just a narrative, they are a guide, an invitation to embrace the power within and live a life enriched with purpose and far-reaching understanding. So now it's time to dive deeper into the mind and the heart behind the book and get up close and personal with the author himself. Leading our special Q&A is Jacob Galea. Jacob has been working with Shane for the last 3 years and has played the role of a sounding board for all of his ventures. Jacob is a mindset mentor, business coach, and author. So, without further ado, please welcome Jacob and Shane to the stage.
Cheers. Good evening, everybody. How is everyone? Oh, come on. How is everyone? Is everybody having a good night? So this is a really interesting story. So 4 years ago, COVID, it was COVID. And I was sitting on a virtual board and we had Shane participate in this amazing business seminar. And it would have been 5 minutes into this talk that Shane was giving, and I sort of stopped and I said to the other virtual board members, I said, stop. And I wanted to talk directly to Shane. And I said, Shane, I get that you're a businessman, but most importantly, you're an impact guy. And at that moment, I think this impact, energy and vibration and inspiration was born. And I've got to say, for me, for the past 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, it's been a phenomenal journeying with Shane, because so Shane and I probably have the most time with Shane, even more than Tanya, because we meet every week and we have tossed everything around and incubated and ideated. And in one of our sessions, I said to Shane was talking about all this wisdom, and I said, you need to write a book, buddy. And here we are tonight. So for that, Shane, congratulations. Yeah. Beautiful night. So what we're going to do, we've got some, I'm going to do a couple of things, guys. We've got some questions that we've crafted for Shane, and then I'm going to, if you all can please think of a question, I'm going to, at the end of it, open it to Q&A to the audience. We would love to hear from some of you on anything about questions for Shane, about the book, business, impact, because that's what it's all about tonight. Shane loves giving back, and any advice that he can give would be great. So, Shane, here we are.
Very good.
The night is here.
I hope you can hear me. No,
we're not on. Can we get Shane's mic on? You're on?
No, it's on.
All right, so let's start with the first question. So I think, first and foremost, especially for those that don't know Shane, I've brought some people here that haven't met you before but may know you. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, I'll start by saying I wasn't driven by inspiration. As Jacob said, I went on one of my annual trips. Some of you know I take a week off every year on complete lockdown. No technology, no radio, TV, internet, etc. I lock myself away for a week. No human beings, nothing. And much to Tanya's shock, she thought I'll stop this after we got married, but I haven't. It's actually one of my most favorite times of the year. Anyway, after one of these trips, I came back. These are all the ideas. These are the things that's bubbling, and that's when Jacob said, like, where do you get this? How do you get it from? And then I started outlining to him the process I go through on this 1 week trip away. The first thing I do as I'm driving away, the first thing I do when I arrive at the place, thoughts, mindset. And as I was talking, he started writing down these things that helped form the chapters. So essentially the book was birthed from me talking about what happens in this 1 week away every year for more than 20 plus years that I've been doing.
Fantastic. I think a lot of people, and they've asked me tonight too, one of my guests has asked me this next question, and I think it's important, which was, how was this book titled? How did you come up with this fantastic title and the name of the book and the tagline?
The how came as we dug deeper into what on earth do I do when I go for a week? Because for most people, it'll drive you nuts to be locked in a room, not leave a room for a whole week. It doesn't drive me nuts. I actually love it. But what happens, and as I was explaining, as soon as you close the doors, you switch off all the music and all the noise in the internet, what I learned happens is everything gets loud. As soon as you switch everything off, everything gets loud in here. And it could drive you nuts. As a matter of fact, that's what you do to prisoners if you want to punish them. You take them out of normal prison and put them in solitary confinement because your thoughts are very loud. So in facing these thoughts, I realized that there's all these objections to how one would see themselves, and the essence of that, Jacob, was learning to actually accept you for who you are and not waste all this time trying to change you to be like somebody else or someone else's expectation of you, but being able to look at the mirror and go, wow, why do I need to change? I'm unique. And that is actually how the title was birthed. It's actually being able to accept you the way you are and be your unique self.
Beautiful. Yeah, come on, round of applause. That's beautiful. We've highlighted tonight that those of you that know Shane and work with us, with Shane, he doesn't do one thing, he does 7,000 things at once. And he's a very busy man. And as recently we know, Shane and his beautiful wife have adopted some beautiful girls, and that life has gotten very busy for you lately. In that busyness, I want to ask you, why write a book now at this time of your life, not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, in a very busy time? Why now?
I think this was on one of the videos we did before. It's probably the worst time because I started writing the book in March 2023, 2 months after we got the girls, that was intense. All of a sudden, someone saying, here's 3 kids. So 2 months after, and it took me 3 months to write. Why now? I will say this. I think the topic was brewing, and it probably has been for many years. I don't tend to go with the vein of thinking with reference to I've got too much, I'm not busy. Or I don't tend to go with the vein of thinking I'll do it later. I genuinely have a problem about doing things later. Because my view is I don't know how many grains of sand, and I used this analogy before, I don't know how many grains of sand I have in my hourglass. I could only have a few more days or a few more years. So making the most of every opportunity. Now I will say this, it wasn't really work to do the book. It wasn't work. There was a natural flow. How else can you do it in 3 months? But there was a natural flow. It wasn't effort. I mean, hard work is...
Actually, I don't think that was mentioned. Does everyone know that this book was written in 3 months? I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's about finding a flow and just going through it, and I did that amongst everything else. It was a refreshing filling and refueling for all the other things I do.
And tell us, Shane, what's your favourite part of the book and why?
That's a tough question you can ask anyone who writes it, because I think they'd be biased and say the whole lot. Well, I'll give a few different answers. If you were to measure the size of each chapter, you'll probably notice the power of giving is the biggest chapter. So I would say that probably has a strong aspect with reference to what I like. I also like being able to look in the mirror. There's this part about being able to look in the mirror and accept you for who you are, regardless of the bad cards that you might have been dealt with in life. good cards don't necessarily make you. It's actually the combination of the good and the bad. But to summarize, I think my favorite chapter, possibly would be the hardest for many, would be the one on identity. Because I think impact and all the things we do actually comes from identity, and actually being able to just be really okay with who you are. That, I think, is the most powerful. That's the fuel chapter. It doesn't get a lot of praise or glory, but that's the fuel chapter, and it looks nice in all the others.
So we want to get to know the author a little bit now. And a question has come up and there's 3 parts to this. What is your favourite book, song and movie, and why?
I had to have that because who knows what the answer is. You can actually tell a lot about what someone does in these 3 areas. Book, song, movie. So, book. I read a book recently, maybe in the last less than 10 years. One of many. It was a guy who wrote it. His name's Chuck Finney. Has anyone heard of him? Yes. Very good. You know, a very small percentage of people know about this gentleman. Now, I will say this. Most people know globally about this topic called the Giving Pledge, where the billionaires of the world, your Buffetts, your Gates, etc., are pledging to give half or whatever. It's a massive thing, a giving pledge. And there's a lot of people that's actually tied up to this with this giving pledge, which I think is a brilliant thing. But what excites me is to work out, okay, how did this thing start? And I learned through reading this book that it was this very humble Irish guy, and he was the one who inspired Buffett and Gates to actually give. Most people look at the giver. Many people don't look at where the inspiration came from. And it was this gentleman called Chuck Finney. He essentially gave away, I think he made a lot of people rich in his ventures, but he personally gave his fortune of about $8 billion US dollars. And his goal was to give away everything while he was here and make a difference. Most of the universities in Ireland, there's a lot of things all funded by this gentleman. And he also likes to keep it low key. He's not one of the type of people who likes to go around making sure everyone knows he gave. And he coined this phrase called giving while living. And I think that jumped out to myself because I subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to do as much as you possibly can, and then once you're gone, someone else can execute a few wishes of yours. I actually think there's a lot of satisfaction in doing things while you're alive. Yeah. So that's on the book part. What's the other one? A song. So someone else described me at a trivia game. So we had a game, and someone else described me. The question was, describe Shane in a song. So I have claimed that because I actually, in reflecting, that actually is a very amazing way to describe me. So I'm not biased, it came from someone else. I'm not going to sing it. But, it's not I'm not going to sing it, but I'm actually going to paraphrase and mix a few words.
Who wants to hear Shane sing it?
Not really. I think if I start telling you the words, you'll get the song, and I'm going to mix in the words. So it goes something like this, and that is, there actually comes a time when every one of us will hear something calling us to do something, where then together, everyone here in this room must come together, shoulder to shoulder, stand as one. Because there's actually people dying every day. So, if we can come together and band together and do something for the most important thing, and the most important thing is the gift of life that we all have. So, I did add a few words so you couldn't guess the song, but it's actually, what's the song called? We Are the World.
Michael Jackson.
And it is, it's an amazing song, and even the composing of it. No.
The girls on the queue?
Yeah, no one here.
No.
It's actually quite amazing because, it also talks in composing it, someone without all the talents can bring together people that are bigger names and bigger talents but collectively bring this amazing symphony to do something that for an impact out there. So that would be the song one. The movie, I'll give you my favorite line from this movie, and it really fuels and shapes, it fuels me. At the end of this movie, a bunch of people come up and give this gift to this guy for what he has done. And they give him a ring, and on the ring is inscribed in another language. He who saves one life saves the world entire. And that ring was given to this person in the movie called Oscar Schindler. A great example of someone who used their craft in business. To essentially buy, snatch humans to save them. So that's the movie.
Well done. Before we take it to Q&A, one last question. And I know a couple of answers here. This is pretty exciting. So Shane, what's next for the next 5 years?
There's a lot. Well, I'll say this. I like to remind myself, I don't know how much time I have here, but it's important to maximize the moments we have. There's a lot of work we're going to do with SafeWatch because it breaks my heart when I see people erring on the red side of the scale or the spectrum and choosing to exit in the most severe situations. And it breaks my heart that these statistics are shocking for young people. So we are going to do a significant work, because if we don't do this, it's actually your friends and your children that's at risk here. Don't underestimate it, because everyone who does choose to take that step, they looked normal. They looked good. They got A's. They won the goal. They won the beauty pageant. They got the promotion. So we have a lot of work to do so that this silent thing around mental wellness doesn't take people out. I'm looking for help, by the way, and investors and people who can help us scale and make a difference. So that's one aspect. We have a lot to do. We'll certainly continue with all the businesses we have. We will make a difference in the impact space with Destiny Foundation. We will shift the dial with what we're doing with InspED and training. Secure My Digital will make a mark when it comes to criminals. I don't know how that's going to work, because we're going to get the bad guys not liking us. Also, I didn't highlight this, but I set up something called Paladin AI Ventures. And Paladin AI Ventures is actually the business, it's the birthing machine. Paladin birthed SafeWatch, Paladin birthed InspED, and Paladin birthed Secure My Digital. And there's a few more ideas on the shelf waiting to be birthed. But as part of Paladin, we will also, I hope I'll meet the right people, we'll actually go out there and set up a fund so that we can have greater access to capital to actually do what we need to do with Paladin, because really we're running at the speed of our capital. And we want to run at a higher speed, so we need to address the capital aspect. And there's a few more books.
All right, let's go to Q&A. Just loud voices. Who's got the first question?
And while the first question's coming, do you want me to tell you about the next book?
We do.
So it was only in the last 1 or 2 weeks we sat down and wrote the chapter headings and the list for the next book. Now, there's a few things, not because I don't have, because I have spare time. One of the reasons I pushed to do it before this event is I've learned that, when you have a high, the drop is very risky. You can win an Olympic medal and the drop is risky. You can win a beauty pageant. You can have these highs and the drop is actually quite hard. And so to ensure that I didn't have that drop, I started working on the next book. So the next book, working title, is going to be called Impact Worth. And Impact worth, it goes back to, as a young person, I learned, okay, how do you get ahead? You make money. How's that measured? Net worth. It's very simple. It's measured in net worth. Whether you're going for it or not, that's how you measure it. But we've got these chapters and content with reference to helping people understand that net worth, although that's great and I'm not diminishing it, impact worth, that pays eternal dividends. That would be contemplated on a deathbed, not net worth. I'm not being rude, but just from the research I've done. So I can't wait for the content of impact worth. And I hope with that it'll inspire people to literally, as one would look at their bank account or net worth, they go, what's the impact I'm making in this life?
Well done. Round of applause, guys. All right, let's go take it to the floor for some questions. Nice and loud voice. Yeah, first question.
Shane, we've spoken at length about your unique self. What would you say is the biggest challenges for someone that's going through that process? And for me, it's something that I've taken years. And what's some of the things that you think would help this person to continue on?
Thanks, Darren. It's a tough place to be in. When you're in this place of drowning in doubt, darkness, self-worth and value. And when I've been in places like that, I can tell you, my positive thinking couldn't get me out because it's pretty bad. You're really buried there. It's actually hard. I don't know how one person can get out alone. It needs other people to actually grab them out. It's hard to get out when you're in the well. But what helps me is I like to remind myself that I was created for a particular purpose. Even if I was created and I'm meant to pass away in 2 days, I can do the most with what I have been created. That's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of this challenge I face is when I start comparing myself to others. I actually think it's one of the worst things, comparison. It really is tough because it gets your eyes off what's really marvelous and unique in you, and instead you're always trying to compete with this guy or that guy or that guy, and you'll never be able to shape up. And you're not wired like them. But here's the best part, which I like. They're not wired like you. No one's wired like you. And it's okay, I've learned, that if you're going through a tough time, these tough times give you some amazing spice to your life. Probably don't feel it in the moment, but that's what I would say. Remind myself around why I'm here.
Next question.
Oh no, someone else. Oh yeah. I thought Tanya
Go here
was,
first. I'll come back to you, Tanya. I'll come back to Tanya.
Thank you. Hello. Can I add something to what you're saying to Darren's question? I think, Darren, that surrounding yourself with people who can instill hope. For me, hope is probably the biggest gift we can give each other. So that leads me nicely onto my question, actually, to Shane. You left loads out that I wanted to know about, and that was around your youth, your teenage years, after you left home. And you talked about turning away from the influences that were going to take you down a dark path or a different path, and surrounding yourself by people who can actually understand you and what I'm paraphrasing, I'm not quite doing it so well, but surrounding yourself by people who really understand where you're coming from and what you want to achieve. Given the work that we're doing in Safe Watch with the youth app version, I'm curious, how on earth did you know? And I think you're probably going to say instinct, and that's not enough. I want to know, how did you know not to go with the crowd, and how were you not influenced by your own peers?
That's a tough question, Caroline, because I'm not going to say I knew, because as a young person, I mean, I walked out of home at... I couldn't handle school, so I barely made year 10. I ran away from home. I left school, I left home. It was actually the worst thing for my parents because they didn't know where I left, where I went to. And because of the type of visa I was on, they couldn't even go to the authorities. We all get sent back. It was horrible. Anyway, sorry about that. And I was associated with people, you know, in all sorts of industries. There was one season I used to work for a guy called John Abraham. He was then later, I didn't know this at the time, but I learned he was one of the kings of the underworld in Sydney. And that was the circles of people I was with. So that's just one example, there's many. And there were many times whereby if you look back, I could have gone down wrong street. And I was quite naive and innocent, and I didn't know. So I'm not going to say instinct. I just kept moving forward. By the way, I didn't know how to find the right circles back then. And I don't think I did. But one thing I did do is I associated with all the circles. The crazy people, the illegal people, the successful people, whatever it may be. I did associate with them all. And I chose to use that as an experience, like traveling the world. I'm going to travel all these countries. That's what I did. I didn't actually know. I'm lucky I didn't go down the wrong street. And by the way, I could have gone down so many wrong streets. But it's a very uncomfortable conversation now because I don't like talking about me. Anyway, sorry.
Next question, 2 more. Tanya, all yours.
No, not Tanya.
Hi, I actually have a question for your wife because I want to know how she's rocking those fabulous shoes. But my question is more geared towards people from multicultural and diverse backgrounds. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and I want to know how you've been able to conquer and break through that glass ceiling. I think when you migrate from a different nation, and particularly for me, and start a business and are trying to create a platform or institute change, you keep hitting these glass ceilings. And I'd like to know about how you overcome that and how you get past that and get to the stage where you're at.
It's a loaded question. So, okay. It's a loaded question. I don't have a magical answer. I will say this. I didn't originally set my sights to go and conquer these things. I just literally took one step at a time. I'll use one example. Setting out 25 years ago to set up OBT, I had zero business experience, and no one in my family had ever been in business either. And I remember my parents trying to talk me out of it because that's not the done thing. The done thing is a job, which is culturally what we knew. So I didn't have the experience, I didn't have the contacts, but I was driven by pursuit to solve customer problems. And I thought, I'll just do one at a time, one customer at a time, solve one problem at a time. And that's my humble answer, it's not a magical one. And I think that helps me because it sets you sailing. And once you're sailing, then you can start to take advantage of the winds. And then you can start to add some extra sails or maybe some bigger sails. So what I didn't do was set out with this massive sail for the high seas because I didn't even know how to sail. I literally just took one step at a time and just learned to, along the journey, quickly add more sails or bigger sails and and surround myself. I'm actually blessed to be surrounded by, I'm probably the dumbest person in all our spheres, least educated, but I love to surround myself with some amazing people with experience. As a matter of fact, everyone in this room. And I also learned to enjoy that and not see that as a threat.
All right, Tanya, you're last.
I'm up.
Last question, guys.
I don't think I need a microphone.
Oh. Okay.
So, honey, you wrote this book, and I want to know why you wrote this book and why you wrote it to impact others. So how do you want others to be impacted
So I'll
by this?
cover a few things. So firstly, to clear the air, you wouldn't do this to make money. It only costs you. So just to clarify that. So it's not that. I genuinely believe if people are able to see themselves as special, it'll put them on a different slipstream. They'll actually get onto a slipstream. I genuinely believe that. I also genuinely believe that everyone is special. It just takes a lot of work to convince a person that they are when they go, no, you don't know the names I was called. Or you don't know how many times I've been called silly. Or I can go on, there's a lot in the book. But I actually believe if people stop trying to fight all these things in their past, but actually live their life as if they are special, they will do some amazing things. They will be the best chef, the best fund manager, the best premier, the best actress, whatever it may be, that they have in themselves, as long as they can just stop putting energy on trying to shape up to some of these voices that are trying to live up to. I also think people who've had some bad cards dealt to them. And it's unfortunate, but some people have had some horrific cards. I truly am convinced that even those horrific cards add a level of experience and spice that no one else will have. So that person, that unique person, has so much to give. The whole world doesn't know all the intricacies of what has made that person. So that's the why. I'll add something else. On the next book, there's a section on labels. I'm not answering a question, but the next one. There's a section that's going to talk about labels. I actually think there's a lot of power in labels, and unfortunately the world wants to label everyone. It's easy. If I can label you, I know how to deal with you, with this syndrome or what have you. But we all have these labels. A label can be a CEO, and that's, again, goes to identity. Or a label could be an immigrant, a color, what have you. But labels are actually very, very dangerous because we end up living to conform to the label. So in this next book, I'm hoping to help people realize that these labels are shaping them, and get rid of these labels and find the real labels, and not live a whole life of shaping up to all these labels they've been given, good or bad, but actually find what's unique in the person. So slight tangent on the labels. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're now going to have the collection of the books over at the table. If you haven't already ordered your copy, you can follow Shane, and he is also going to sign some of the books as well if you'd like a personal message.
Exactly, and I will do one last thing. I would, if I could take a moment, I'd love to acknowledge all the team, the volunteers. So I will say this, it's actually quite humbling. SafeWatch has been going, 3+ years. We don't have one person that's actually on the payroll of SafeWatch. We've done everything with an amazing team, an army of volunteers. So I would really love to acknowledge all the volunteers, all our psychologists, psychiatrists, coaches, lived experience people, strategy people. There's about 35 plus people that have all band together around the impact work we want to make with SafeWatch. And so I actually want to say a big thank you to each and every person. not from me, but thank you for what you're intending to do so that we can actually go and make a difference in this space with SafeWatch. So I just want to take that moment and say thanks.
Thank you, Shane. So if you want to follow Shane over to the table in the other room, you can grab a copy of Your Unique Edge. And if you want to have a personalised message in that, he can arrange that. Or if you run out of time, there's also order forms and you can have it shipped to your workplace or your home. And just think it might be a good corporate gift perhaps, or for someone you want to empower to make an impact. So we'll see you in the other room. Thank you.